So the Gardentec GTH 2301 Petrol Hedge Trimmer, cheapest one I could find on the market, around 80 quid. Now I've already seen this in the store, had a good look at it, looks like a decent piece of kit, but let's see what else you get in the box. You've got a manual, which I've already looked at, looks pretty good. You've got a little tool bag with some good stuff in it actually. Plug spanner, screwdriver, little spanner and some Allen keys, no doubt so that you can take it apart and service it. Plus, even more important, you've got a two-stroke mixing bottle. Now if you guys don't know what two-stroke is, it means instead of using pure petrol, this actually uses petrol mixed with a little bit of two-stroke oil, which is this stuff. Mix on this one is 25:1, which means you have 1 part two-stroke oil to 25 parts of neat petrol. I mentioned I'd already looked at this in the store. It looks pretty nicely made. Things that are nice about it is you've got easy access to the carburettor. It's got the usual safety features on the hand grip, and I'm assured that you can get parts for this, but that remains to be seen. So I'm going to mix up some two-stroke. I'm going to give it a bit of lubrication because it doesn't appear to be very well lubricated, and then let's see how we fire it up and see whether it does the job. I mean, for 80 quid I'm not expecting miracles. It's a half, a third, a quarter the price of some, but I think if it's treated properly and looked after, it should do the job, but let's wait and see. Right, well I've mixed the two-stroke, and basically, in case you don't understand how this works, there's a 500ml mark on here, which is where I fill up to with the pure petrol, and then it's marked 550, so top it up to 550 with the two-stroke oil. Let's put it in and try and start this baby. Now it goes without saying really that you should do this well away from any flammable sources, preferably outdoors. They don't actually supply you with a funnel, but this is just the top of a distilled water bottle. That will do the job. Well, just to explain the operation of this, on the handle here, this is a throttle, but it won't work unless you've got that button pressed in. So obviously when you're holding it, that's pressed in, that opens and closes the throttle. Before you try and start this, make sure the throttle is opening and closing properly. Down here you've got the carburettor, that's the choke lever, can't quite see it there, but little lever that sticks up. Lever up is choke closed for starting, lever down is once you've started it. In fact, I found one pull and it starts, providing you've primed it properly, and priming is done by pressing this little transparent bulb until you see a clear fuel running through both of these pipes with no bubbles. Once you've done that, as I've discovered, put it on a fast idle, which is throttle in, button in, and then release the throttle, and the button stays in, as you can see. It stays in until you pull the throttle again. So once you've started it, you can actually release that, like so. That is the stop button, it's pretty crucial. Up position, up stops the machine, down is start position. So make sure when you're trying to pull and start it that it's in the go position, otherwise it's not going to start, I can tell you that now. Now they suggest starting it on the ground. In fact, I found it easier to stand holding that handle with the back handle pressed into my stomach, one hand there, and then pull, you can't see, one hand there and then pull this way, but that worked fine. You'll probably see it in the video, but that covers it. Bit more lube on the blades. I just gave it a little test run, works absolutely brilliantly, and I think for 80 quid you can't really go far wrong, providing you look after it. Now, I've read people saying some of these things are hard to start. Providing you prime them and make sure there's fuel, all you need with a two-stroke or with any engine is a spark, fuel and compression. Providing you've got those three, it's going to run, and it did. Right, well, I guess the first thing to do is take the blade guards off. Right, well, I've read the manual. Make sure you read the safety instructions and operation and starting the machine. First off, move at least 3 meters away from the place of refueling. Push the stop switch to 1. The other thing you must do is, of course, make sure the throttle is free to move. So check that the free movement of the throttle. Incidentally, while I'm showing you this, you can actually change the position of the handle here by pulling this lever, and you can rotate. And plus that is a throttle tick over speed, so that when you start it, you've got the button in. Pull the throttle in, press the button in, pull the throttle again to release it. Now it's got a little priming bulb on it, which you won't see necessarily here, but it's tucked around the back of the carburettor. And it's got a choke lever here. So put the choke on, prime it with the bulb, press. And with luck I should see some fuel going in. Yep, I can see fuel going through the pipe, which is a good start. Oh, that's better. I can really see the fuel going through now. Not bubbles in it. I didn't think there was anything there. Keep pumping till there's no bubbles. That's better. Almost no bubbles. Yeah. Okay. It does need several good pumps. So I'm happy I've got fuel going through the fuel line now. I'm finding this a bit tricky with it on the ground, which is the way they suggest starting it. I would think you're better off putting your foot behind it. Keep the blade clear. A little kick then. Shut the throttle, I think. Stop button there. Well, that looks pretty good. Now I'm just going to give it a really good lubricate on the blades, give it a shot of grease in the little grease nipple that's under there on the gear, and see how well it works. So, see you in a minute. If you're in the UK, I bought this at Trago MIlls and I went to the Newton Abbot branch. The guy there was very helpful and he explained something to me that I wouldn't have known otherwise. As far as this cutting blade goes, the reason it's got an extra guard here, that's the kind of initial trimming bit, which seems to cut through pretty hefty stuff. But if it's a really big branch and you put it through this, it will give it an extra bend and helps to break it. So it doesn't tell you that in the manual, but quite useful to know if you're struggling with something. And obviously you give it a few revs as you're cutting just to give it a bit more power. Well, that's job done. Did a good job on my big conifers at the back of my garden and a huge pile of conifer or lilander in my compost heap. So my suggestion for a bit of aftercare is spray some duck oil on the blades before putting on the blade guards, because I think if you look after this, there's no reason why it shouldn't give quite a long, some reliable, good service. Okay then, well, thanks for watching. Not on action camera this time, although I will be testing some more soon. And coming up soon, I'll be testing a radio controlled model aircraft, which might be interesting for some of you. But if you have found this useful, why not click on subscribe? Lots of action camera tests on my channel, paragliding, paramotoring, sailing, all kinds of stuff that might keep you amused for a while. So until next time, that's all for now.